a sugar cube number. For this magic trick, you'll need a pencil, a sugar cube, a glass of water, and some audience. Ask a volunteer to pick a number from 1 to 10. Then use the pencil to write the chosen number on the sugar cube. Pick the cube up, and while doing it, discreetly squeeze it against your thumb. The pencil core is made up of graphite, which sticks to human skin very well. That's why the number will get transferred to your finger. Drop the sugar cube into the water and let it melt. Then ask the volunteer to wave their hand over the glass. After that, press your thumb against their hand. The number will magically transfer to their skin. Turning water into ice in a second. Tricks with water are also very common among magicians. For example, the one where the illusionist pours some water into a cup, and a moment later it's turned into a cube of ice. As you've probably already guessed, the trick here lies in the cup itself. The thing is, it already contains a piece of ice along with a sponge that's the same color as the cup. The sponge is fixed to the bottom of the cup and will absorb water that is poured in. So when the magician turns the cup upside down, the ice falls into his hand while the water remains in the sponge. Right magic equipment, sleight of hands, some practice, and this trick will easily become part of your illusion program.
Water suspension trick. You'd think that if someone filled a glass with water, covered it with a piece of cardboard, turned it upside down, and then removed the cardboard, that the water would immediately come rushing out of the glass and spill everywhere, right? Well, thanks to the magic of physics, this doesn't happen, and magicians get to pass it off as their own special power. The cardboard creates a vacuum seal around the top of the cup, which suctions the card and keeps it in place. No matter how much you move it around, the cardboard will remain stuck until its seal is broken. Neat, right? Now we've got the second part of this illusion to consider. Does removing the cardboard break the seal? Believe it or not, it doesn't. And that's where the tricky part of this trick comes in. You see, a plastic lid attached to the cardboard fits exactly inside the mouth of the cup to hold all the water in once the cardboard is taken away, which makes it seem like the magician is keeping the water from spilling through sheer sorcery. But the water still comes rushing out of the cup at the end of the act, right? That's because there's a tiny hole drilled into the bottom of it. The magician has kept their thumb over this hole the entire time, keeping the vacuum seal in place. Once they move their thumb, air comes back into the cup, and this sudden increase in air pressure within the cup pushes both the plastic lid and the water down to the floor.
Now, the next trick takes a bit more time to carry out. British magician Dynamo levitates up the side to the top of a bus, extends his arm to hold onto it, and floats along while the bus continues its route through the streets of London. It seems like he's done something magical, but this is all just a clever marketing trick on behalf of Pepsi. It's all possible simply because Dynamo's arm that's holding onto the bus isn't real. It's actually a metal pole that's secured to the bus and disguised by a latex arm. There's also a harness underneath for him to strap into that tucks his real arm into his side. In fact, pretty much everything about this trick is fake, including the bus. Well, it's a real bus, of course, but its drivers and passengers are in on the trick. Levitation. Now, most of you have probably seen street performers who seem to be magically floating in the air while seated. Okay, maybe not magically, but still it looks awesome and really makes you wonder how the performers managed to do this. If you're one of these curious onlookers, get ready for the big secret to be unveiled. It's incredibly simple and doesn't require any effort on the performer's part. On the ground beneath them, you might not have noticed there's always a rug or a piece of carpet. Well, that's actually hiding a metal platform with a steel rod sticking up from one of its corners. That rod then connects with another metal plate that the performer sits on. All this framework is well hidden under the illusionist's baggy clothes. So don't worry, these guys feel pretty relaxed and comfortable out there. The only real magic here is sitting still for so long. Count me out, I get antsy just waiting for my Hot Pocket in the microwave. Torn dollar bill restored. Here the audience is fooled into believing that a dollar bill is torn into pieces and restored by rubbing the pieces together. For this trick, the magician needs to do some preparation. 2 dollar bills are glued together with paper glue only on the edges of the bottom halves. The top halves are loose, and if folded away from each other, there should be a pocket created between the glued pieces. For the trick, one half is folded back away from the audience. The front bill is then torn in half, and the torn piece is sometimes torn more than once to convince the audience that it is torn. The torn bits are then rubbed against each other and slide into the pocket. The undamaged bill is then unfolded to reveal an undamaged note. Oh, how sneaky! Slice a banana without peeling it. This trick is impressive, and you get to eat the banana afterward. Snag a banana and keep the peel intact. Take a pin, poke it into the banana, and wiggle it around, ultimately splitting it into even pieces without having to peel it. Peel the banana in front of someone to reveal it's been pre-sliced. While their jaw is hanging open, you can pop a yummy piece of banana in there. Disappearing glass. A drinking glass is put on the table and covered with a handkerchief. Then, the glass is lifted and thrown into the air. Woo! Someone's gonna have to clean this up. The handkerchief falls to the table and the glass has disappeared. You got any idea on how you can poof a glass out of existence? Easy. The handkerchief has a hidden wiry ring that creates an illusion that there's a glass under it. As for the glass itself, the magician already slid it into a secret hole in the table. Bending a spoon. How about if we kick it old school with this classic? You're about to learn how to bend a spoon and then get it back into its original shape in a matter of seconds. Here we go. The trick here is that you don't actually bend the spoon. That's because there is no spoon. Just kidding. There actually is a spoon, but if you got that reference, comment down below. Anyway, you just have to pretend that you're bending it. Cup the handle of the spoon in your hands, but let the head of the spoon remain visible. Tilt your hands forward while letting the handle of the spoon secretly slide down your palm. To make it look more believable, use a silver coin to imitate the end of the handle sticking out of your cupped hands. Just hide it in your fist till the right moment. In the end, it'll look like the spoon is actually bending right in front of your audience's eyes. Then, use your acting skills again and pretend you're working hard to unbend the spoon. Ta-da! Cool, huh? Ice painted from the inside. Prepare some ice cubes and make several salt solutions mixed with different paints. Then tell your audience that you're going to color the ice cubes from the inside. With the help of a pipette, put a few drops of the solution on each ice cube. All the spectators will see is the ice gradually changing its color from the inside. But you'll know that at that moment, the salt is dissolving the ice, drilling tiny holes in it, and creating beautiful, colorful patterns. The rising card. This next trick is very popular among both professional magicians and complete beginners. Plus, it's one of the easiest tricks to do as well. We're talking about the card trick, where the illusionist asks a spectator to randomly choose any card from the deck and place it back. Then the magician makes some magical moves, and the spectator's card is popped out of from the deck. So, what is the secret to this illusion? It's pretty simple, actually. When placing the card back in the deck, the magician puts it in front of a card with a special mechanism, a small pad that sticks to the card and moves it upwards. This creates the illusion of it popping out of the deck. So just practice a little bit, and you'll be ready to awe your friends with this one. Walking on water. At first glance, this trick seems impossible to explain. Come on, it's water after all. How can someone nonchalantly take a stroll on its surface? Do they use special shoes? Maybe some invisible ropes? In fact, this trick isn't even that difficult. Admittedly, you won't understand its inner workings unless you know what to look for. These magicians use industrial-grade plexiglass platforms standing on long legs made from the same clear material cleverly placed under the water. This pathway looks completely invisible if you're looking at it from the right angle. It's impossible to detect, even with a camera. Yet the magician can see well enough where exactly he needs to step in order to pull off this miraculous stunt. If you've ever seen such a trick performed in a swimming pool, I'll bet you're thinking, surely people standing nearby would be able to see the glass platforms. Well, of course they can. They're probably all actors pretending not to see the glass at all. Whoever said magicians can't play dirty? Turning plain paper into money. If this were real, I wouldn't mind if it were my regular 9-to-5 job. And on top of that, it would probably be tax-free. Oops, is the IRS watching this? Never mind, guys. It looks like I'll have to stick with my current line of work for the time being. Turns out this trick is fairly easy if practiced a few times. It starts off by folding the bill into a small square and placing it in the palm of your hand. It shouldn't be too obvious, which is why it takes some practice. For the performance, you take any piece of plain paper and light it on fire to distract the audience. As it disintegrates, the plain paper is thrown down while at the same time bringing the note to your fingers where the burning paper was. And there you have it. Paper into money just like that. Too bad you need the money to do the trick. Please be careful when trying this at home. Hey, come to think of it, burning through money isn't all that hard. Melting through rubber bands. To do this trick, you'll need 2 rubber bands. Put one on each hand, over your pointer finger and thumb. Interlock the bands so you can't move them away from each other. To make them magical, move through each finger so you can part your hands. Pull the middle finger of your right hand over your index finger on the same hand. Quickly transfer the band that was strained on your pointer onto your middle finger. Now lift the same band up a bit with your pointer finger. Let go of the piece your middle finger was holding. You should be able to take the bands apart now. Haha, sneaky. The human zigzag. Now you might think that the woman inside is divided into 3 parts, but the effect is achieved because her body is hidden. The success of this trick depends on the assistant's flexibility. Her main goal is to contort her body in those compartments so that her face, hands, and foot look like she's standing straight up and facing the audience. Ow! My knees and back wouldn't have that. Vanishing Crayons. This one requires a bit of preparation, but it's totally worth it. I mean, who doesn't love disappearing tricks? Start by showing your audience that you have a perfectly full box of crayons and tell them, in your best magician voice, that they're all about to vanish. You wave your hand over the box and voila! It's empty. With your amazing sorcery, you turn the box upside down and the crayons are all back. All of the minds in the room have officially been blown. So, how do you do it? Well, it takes an 8-pack of crayons and some tape or glue. Cut the crayons in half and set aside the butts. Yeah, let me set aside my butt here. Anyway, you won't need them for this trick. Tape or glue the top portions together in a line. While you're showing the box to your audience, be sure to squeeze it with your fingers to hold the crayons up so that the tops are visible and the box looks full. The second you let go of the crayons, they'll fall to the bottom and the box will look empty. When you flip it upside down, squeeze it again, and the crayons will magically appear at the top. Dancing worms. For this super impressive magic trick, you'll need some cornstarch, food coloring, water, a thin metal baking tray, and a stereo subwoofer. Mix 2 cups of cornstarch with 1 cup of water and pour the mixture onto the tray. Then add several drops of food coloring and put the tray on the subwoofer. Make sure to press the tray against the subwoofer and switch on some loud music. You'll see colorful little worms dancing. Darcy Oak's Devolution. In Season 8 of Britain's Got Talent, the audience was both shocked and amazed by Canadian illusionist Darcy Oak, who performed several magic tricks with doves. In one of them, the magician makes a pigeon appear from a burnt feather. But how did he do it? Easy. The feather that Darcy showed the audience before lighting it up is actually a piece of special paper known as flash paper. It is commonly used by magicians when they wish to create large flashes of fire in order to hide brisk moments of illusion from the audience. And that's exactly what Darcy did. Using the fire, he quickly got the pigeon from a secret pocket in his sleeve. And that's how the magic of this trick is born. Signed card trick. So this is the one where the trickster asks a member of the audience to sign a card, then he tears it up and it magically reappears in perfect condition. Here it is, the famous slip of the hand trick that creates the illusion of magic. When the illusionist takes the signed card from the member of the audience, he changes it with one he had in his pocket or up his sleeves. Ooh, up his sleeves. I guess that's not just a saying after all. The card that gets torn up is not the signed one, and the original signed card is secretly slipped back into the deck to wow the audience. The paper napkin mind reading trick. Get a paper napkin that you can't see through and ask them to write a word in big letters on the back. Don't peek. Before starting this trick, make sure your smartphone is sitting under you on the table face up. Once the word is written on the napkin, display it blank side up to the table, waving it back and forth over your phone. You can say something like, "See, I can't see the word through the napkin." As you say this, look down at your phone. As you wave the napkin over it, you'll see the word reflected in the screen. Your friends at the table will think you're psychic. Getting free of chains underwater. Houdini's wrists and calves were chained, and then he was slowly submerged into the tank full of water. The chamber was hidden by a curtain, and within a couple minutes, Houdini would magically appear from behind it. Now, first of all, the chamber's special design was key for this trick. Since his body was displacing some water, it created an air pocket in the tank. Secondly, Houdini's unmatched skills also played their role. The task of the illusionist was to tense up, get out of the chains, and get out of the water. The trick was really spectacular and is still performed around the world to this day. But in case you have one of those giant tanks lying around, don't try this one at home, okay? Telekinesis. Or tell another kin of yours, I don't care, maybe your brother. Haha. Hey, you've got the power. The power to bend paper clips with your mind. Yes, just like that. Do you want to know the secret? Then listen up. A regular paper clip will do just fine. Straighten it out and hold it in front of you so that the audience can see it just at the right angle. Imitate some psychic stuff going on. Hey, you can even touch your temple with your other hand and make some grunting noises. You gotta sell this to your audience. Alright, then just rotate the clip slightly between your fingers and the crowd will be positive you're actually bending it with your mind. Age guessing. All you'll need to surprise people by guessing their age is a calculator. Pick a volunteer and ask them to punch in their age while hiding the screen from everyone. Then ask them to multiply this number by 2 and add 1 to the result. Tell them to multiply this number by 5 and then by 10. After that, ask the person to write the final number on a piece of paper and give it to you. Ignore the last 2 digits of the number you see. What's left is the volunteer's age. Linking rings. The magician begins by showing you that the metal rings he's about to use are totally solid. He might even ask an audience member to give it a hearty tug to check. A second later, he somehow hooks 2 of them together and then magically separates them. Amazing! How is it done? It really is just smooth sleight of hand, because there's a tiny gap in one of the rings. He's just sure to keep it hidden under his hand. It's always the hands. Gotta keep a sharp eye on them.